It's the only thing that ever, stop, cat, stop.
Great. Good. You gonna need a minute there, Danielle?
She's like, decided that she really likes this box for the first time ever.
Well, she's a cat. Of course she likes the box.
It's the only time she's ever liked the box, Sam.
Hello and welcome to Book Retorts. I'm Sam.
I'm Danielle.
And this is the podcast about sharing weird media finds with your friends who don't know what you're talking about. But today, two things are different. One, y'all know what I'm talking about. And two, I got two friends. Welcome back, Philip, for our Hyperion wrap-up episode.
Thanks so much for having me one more time. I can't be more ecstatic to talk about Hyperion even longer.
Look, this is the gift that keeps giving.
And I don't think we actually know what you're talking about, Sam, because
that's
Hyperion.
actually true. I have prepared a little surprise for both of you. Now, I figured we've been doing a lot of Hyperion the last, for us, at least a year or 2 years for some of us, 3 years. I lose track. It's
3 years, Sam. It's been 3 years.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that, actually.
We learned that in Hyperion, time doesn't matter. I'm glad you all came today for the end of the semester. I have brought you something special.
Did you mention this was a Hyperion retrospective?
Oh, I got something better than that. As you can see from this, I have brought you your final exam on Hyperion for our Hyperion 385 course here at Book Retorts University. As your professor, I am obligated to bring you.
Don't you get tired of this in your day life?
Look, I was in a role. I was making finals. I had to make another one. So this exam is broken up into two parts. There will be a written portion that you see before you hear, and we'll share this on socials, I'm sure. And there will also be an oral presentation, which you've already prepared in the form of lists. That will happen at the end. The written exam will be 30% of your grade. The oral exam will be 30% of your grade. And the remaining 40% is the participation you had in the previous part of the semester. Any questions about your grade?
Yeah.
That's not a pass. You still need to pass with the finals, or you're going to get an F.
I was going to say I'm very appreciative and grateful that it has been all closed off, and I have like this open wound of Hyperion finally healing, and everything is like fine.
Sam's going to rip it open.
It.
That's right. So we're going to have the exam. I think we'll start here with the written exam, and we'll see how you all do and how much you remember from our years of Hyperion. You've all read several of the books, some more than others, and you've all listened or participated in all of the episodes, so you should be a cakewalk. I'll admit, I prepared this exam without looking up more than one or two things, so I might be wrong.
Not be right.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say, right, exactly right. So I hope they're all right, but there were a few things I had to look up just to get the spellings and stuff right. So make sure you have a pen and pencil ready. You're not allowed to have your cell phones out, no smartwatches, earbuds, anything like that. This is a closed book exam. We'll start with our fill-in-the-blank questions. There will be 25 of them.
Oh, wow.
I'm not doing 25 fill-in-the-blank questions.
Too bad, because after that, there are 5 short answer questions, and then you'll have your oral presentation. You'll each have 15 seconds to do your fill-in-the-blank, and then you'll share your answers as we go after I read the question.
Do I have to write things down? Wait.
Absolutely. How did I know you're not cheating off of Philip? That's what I told you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. That's what I'm struggling with
in
here.
Japan.
He's ready. Philip's prepared. He's a good student. I
have
the
my
troublemaker.
Dinosaur pencil case here. I got it.
That's amazing.
I don't understand what we're doing.
You're taking a final exam, Danielle. It's very clear.
I did not study for this.
I did. You were studying the whole year, Danielle.
This is like those nightmares where you wake up and you're like going to a class and you have an exam
exactly
that you
what I was reminded of.
to.
Exactly, yeah.
In case it's not clear, this is not what they knew was happening today, and I'm very excited.
Like
it's definitely gonna cause me to have more trauma, and then we're gonna have to read the sequel short story books to, have more closure, and then it's gonna happen over again, and it's gonna give us more tests. It's never gonna end.
All right, are you ready for your first question, class?
Are we going over each of these as we do them?
Yes.
Professor Sam?
Yes, otherwise it would just be you guys sitting in silence for 20 minutes. And then
what we're doing?
No.
It was not very specific.
You know what? I'm sorry. I should have been clear. All right, we're going to go one
For
at a
example,
time.
was
You'll
going
have...
to recite Keith's poetry while we write the answers. And
That's
then
right. I'm going to recite poetry as a
each
distraction
question is one
technique.
verse, and then when you get to the end of the poem, you're going to look back at the questions.
Is one of the questions answer Keats?
Maybe. You'll have to find out.
Just when in doubt, just write Keats. That's it.
Or Hyperion.
That's right.
God's
All
growth.
right. You ready for your first question? Your first question is, there are blank labyrinth worlds that have been discovered by humanity.
Okay.
We have your answers?
Sure.
Philip, you can go first this time.
That wasn't even 5 seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were ready.
Just pick a number. What does it matter?
Okay, I'm gonna say there are many labyrinth worlds that have been discovered by humanity.
Oh, you're one of those students. Gotta keep my eye
Correct,
on you.
Sam. You gotta give it to him.
Danielle, do you have a more specific answer?
8.
8? Danielle, so close. Each looking for is 9. There are 9
Wow.
labyrinth worlds.
I knew it was between 8 and 11. I just couldn't remember what it was.
All right, question 2. The Valley of the Time Tombs is full of blank fields which change the flow of time. Don't
Some
no
kind of
cheating.
technobabble thing
Is
for
he
this. I
cheating?
remember.
No, you, Danielle, for typing. No searching.
That's how I'm typing. You told me to write my answer down. I do not have a pencil.
Okay.
No, and that's cheating.
Yes,
No
exactly.
pencils. I'm working hard here with my dinosaur pencil case.
Yes,
Well, I
right.
mean, I can get a pencil. Do you want me to get a pencil?
Danielle,
piece of
that'd be
paper?
appreciated.
Oh, God. Okay. See, then he gets like 30 extra seconds to write this answer down.
Well, so do you get much time to think about it as well.
I already wrote my answer down. You heard me type it.
Okay. All right. So, Danielle, why don't you go first this time on this question?
Can you repeat the question?
The Valley of the Time Tombs is full of blank fields which change the flow of time.
In Tropic.
Philip?
Antimatter fields.
Close. You both, it's anti-entropic fields. You were both
Oh my
so
God.
close.
So close.
So close. All right, question 3. With the help of the Technocore, the church military developed the so-called blank drive for instantaneous travel. I'm so happy we're doing this. All my useless Hyperion knowledge is finally paying off.
The terrible thing about this is I feel like I know all these, but I don't know all these.
Yeah. All right, Philip, you go first this time.
Yeah, I don't know these things. I'm just gonna say fat line drive because I
Fat
missed
line
everything.
is so
That's not
close.
what it's called.
I know it's
Danielle?
not what it's called.
I don't know, Sam.
It's the Archangel
I
Drive.
kept thinking Raphael,
Oh my
and I
God.
was like, "What is Raphael?"
That's right. That's right. Guys, not great start for the exam. You're both 0 for 3.
What did you expect out of this?
I would
More.
give the point to Danielle because she almost got it with the entropic.
Yeah, I get like half a point.
You get half a point, sure. All right, question 4. During the time of the hegemony, the military is prefixed with blank, while during the reign of the church, the military is referred to as the blank. Okay, we're Danielle. What's your answer?
During the time of the hegemony, the military was prefixed with pre, while during the reign of the church, the military was referred to as the pax.
Hey, you're half right. Philip, can you fill in the rest?
Yeah, I agree with the PEX part and the pre, I'm not so sure. So I'm gonna say ex-military.
No, the answer we're looking for was force. It was always force,
Space
force,
Force,
air,
whatever,
force.
yeah.
Yeah. Force and Pax was correct, so you each get a
Yeah.
point for that one. So good job. But the question are 3 points each.
What? 3 points each?
3 points each. There's 100 points total in the exam. Guys.
So we
Wow.
get 1.5 points, is what you're telling us?
Yeah. Question 5. We're cruising through this. The names the 2 Keats hybrids went by were, first and last name please, blank and blank.
John Keats?
Maybe. Philip, why don't you answer first? It's your turn.
I'm gonna say John Keats.
Great. Both John Keats got it.
Yep.
Danielle, do you have an answer?
No, one was Johnny Keats. That's
Yes.
what I called him. And
Johnny was
Johnny
correct.
Keats. And then the other one was the guy that I told you as I was re-listening to all of the episodes that I had forgotten he existed.
We're looking for Joseph Severn.
Severn.
Joseph
Oh, that's
Severn.
what it is.
the doctor who cared for John Keats, the
I
real
knew
person.
who he was. I could have told you who he was. I just didn't remember what his name was.
Like they did the both called just John Keats. Great stuff. All right. In Martin Salinas' mansion, the toilet raft was located on the planet blank.
Planet names.
Yeah.
All right. Toilet planet.
Danielle, you're up.
Toilet planet.
Was it Mar Infinitus or was that a different one?
No, that's correct. Hey! Philip, did you also have that?
Definitely not.
Oh, Danielle pulls ahead.
Wow.
That's because I was like obsessed with the toilet raft.
I figured you might get that one. All right. Question 7. Mina Gladstone was the blank of the hegemony, which had a bicameral legislature composed of the blank upper house and the blank lower house.
Did we actually ever talk about this? Come on now.
Yeah, we did. They were mentioned. I don't know if we actually talked to death about it, but...
What house? I can't remember anything.
All right, well, Philip, it's your turn to go first.
So she was the CEO or something?
CEO's correct.
Okay, I got it, something. And then the upper house.
Upper house, good.
High upper house and not as high lower house.
Okay, great. Love that. Danielle, did you get CEO first?
No, I forgot. I said she was the leader of the hegemony. And I said big upper house and a little lower house.
No. I want the same answer as me.
That's incredible. Unfortunately, looking for the Senate as the upper house and the all thing as the lower house.
I didn't know they were houses.
Yeah. I mean, houses in the general political sense, not like literally houses.
Right. House of Atreides.
All right. Number 8. The Templar home planet blank is home to their most sacred structure, the blank.
If one of these questions is going to be named the 4 Templars, I'm going to die. That's our favorite names.
No spoilers. Daniel's thinking so hard, I can see it.
I can't remember. I know it. That's the annoying
you do
part.
know it. You may have already said it, even.
Oh, God.
All right, Danielle, what have you got?
I don't know the name of the Templar home planet.
Yes, you do.
I mean, I do, but I don't remember it.
You said it just a minute ago.
Oh, my God.
Marititis?
No, before that. Anyways, do you have anything else? Any of the other one?
It's that giant Dyson sphere or whatever.
No, I'm afraid that comes much later.
Darn.
Philip, do you have any answers?
I don't know the planet names, like it's a single one, so no. And the structure of the grand space tree.
Oh, so close. The planet was God's Grove.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the World Tree. The World Tree.
That's basically correct. I got that one.
I give you half a point for that.
You should get a half point.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 9. Fedman Kassad gained the nom de guerre, the blank of blank, during the hegemony war with the ousters. I gotta warn you, these questions get more ridiculous as we go.
That was like a million years ago, Sam. That was like book 1.
This is a cumulative final for your degree. This is like your dissertation defense.
Okay.
Look, I put a lot of effort into this. We're going to do it. All right, Philip. Do you have...
I remember this part.
You do? Do you remember Kassad's nom de guerre?
He was practicing all this kung fu, karate, space martial arts something, and it was like this super fighting group, and he was pronounced like the general or master or sensei of them. And it was called like the Fighting Space Force. I don't remember what it was called, but it was like the martial arts space kung fu force, and he was the general of it.
I do like space kung fu force. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Danielle, do you have an answer? That's a no. Okay.
The Slaughterer of Shrikes.
Oh, I'm just close.
I'm just gonna say the general of the martial arts force.
No. We're looking for the Butcher of Brescia. The Butcher of Brescia.
Completely something else.
That's funny because I was thinking slaughter, and I was like, "What's the name of the thing that like kills things?" I could not get to Butcher.
To be fair, it's been a while since any of you had to take in a final exam. You're probably stressed out, which is exactly what I wanted to do, to give you back to those good old school feelings. All right, number 10. The blank people were the first humans to encounter and fall victim to the cruciform parasite.
I know this one. Finally, I know something.
Hey!
I wrote something down, but I'm afraid that it's actually the name of a real people.
What do you got?
They called like the Ben something.
The Bene Gesserit. No, that's Dune.
No,
It's the Spanish or something.
They're the ones on the planet that keep reliving over and over and over again.
Which planet?
Oh no, don't ask for the planets. Oh my god.
No, Hyperion.
I was going to say, Philip, do you have the answer?
Bikura.
The Big
Bakura.
Kura.
See, I told you to start with a B.
Yeah, you get partial credit, sure. Why not? I'm just giving it away.
I remember this only because in Japan they have a booth called Purikura, and you get in it and they take a photo of you and they make an anime face out of you. And every time I walk past it, I'm like, oh, it's the Bikura stuff again from Hyperion.
That seems unfair. He's got like an edge on that one.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right. The creatures on the planet blank, where they meet Father Glaucus, are grossly misnamed as blank.
What? Who is that?
I'm excited for this one. All right, Phil, what do you got?
Planet of the cuttlefish, and they're misnamed as frisbees. I don't know anything about this.
Good guess. Danielle, do you have anything?
The creatures on the planet Ice Planetia, where they meet Father Glaucus, are grossly misnamed as wraiths.
Wraiths is the correct answer. The planet was Sol Draconi Septum. Sol Draconi Septum.
I'm pretty sure it's Ice
Remember
Planetia.
This is from the third book, right?
Yes, third book.
I remember nothing about the third book. I'm like completely trying to remember what happened in the third book.
All right. 12. Duray finally tried to rid himself of the cruciform by strapping himself to a blank, which killed him over and over again.
I know this one.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, studied. Well, it's an even question, so Danielle, you can go first.
Tesla tree.
Correct. Philip,
Tesla
yeah.
tree.
Points all around.
Yay! Good job, Philip.
We know something.
All right. Number 13. Simmons referred to the trees on the first planet in the prologue of Hyperion as blank. This is more from our podcast than the book itself, because we talked a lot about this.
I remember something.
I almost have it.
Danielle. All right, Philip, any guesses?
Something ridiculous.
Yes, correct. Danielle.
It's germa something. Germospheres, germospores, germa...
Yeah, that's
So
it. You're right.
Gymnospore,
Yeah.
gymna, something.
You're getting there. You're like so close there. Keep going.
Gymnospore, gymnosphere, I don't know, Sam.
It's gymnosperm.
Oh yes, that's the. Oh my god,
Gymnosperms.
Discussion.
How did I forget that?
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're cruising, guys. So, question 14. Roland Dimian, whose name rhymes with blank, worked two prominent jobs as blank and blank before embarking on adventure. I amused myself.
Got it.
All right. Danielle, you get to start with this one.
I get to start?
Yeah.
So, Rawl and Endymion, who names rhymes with tall, or any other thing that rhymes with Rawl, worked two prominent jobs as a boat guide person who took people out on boats, and he worked as like a mason or something with bricks.
Danielle, I'm going to count that as a fully correct answer.
Yes!
Well, I beg to differ because it really doesn't rhyme with tall, but with Paul. That's always in the book. That's not correct.
He also says tall. He says tall was the second time he explains what it rhymes with. I don't know why
I thought
he
it was
felt
just you guys
multiple
saying
times.
that, not in the book.
Paul didn't help me.
Paul is also an acceptable answer. Do you have that, Philip? Do you have those jobs
I got Mason, and then the second one I didn't get.
Yeah,
I was
he was
like
a
rafter
hunting
or
guide
something.
on a boat. Yes,
See?
a raft
Boat
hunting
guide.
guide.
Whoop,
Yeah.
whoop, whoop.
That was an incredible pull, Danielle. I'm super impressed.
It's the only thing that ever kept coming back.
The only thing about him that's like remotely a feature of his character. Question 15. Blank is the capital city on the planet Hyperion, colloquially referred to as blank.
Man, I should know this.
You absolutely should know this.
It's terrible.
I know that the capital of Endymion is Endymion. That's something.
Nope, that's not right. Endymion is
Is
the
it
largest
not?
city on Hyperion,
But it's not the capital city.
not the capital city. I don't even know if it's the largest city. It's just a city, actually. All right, Philip, what do you got?
I just remembered Paysum or something like that, but I think it's Endymion too. It's not Hyperion.
What do you got, Danielle?
And Hyperion is the capital city on the planet Hyperion, colloquially referred to as Hyperion.
No, the answer you're looking for is Keats. Keats is the capital city of Hyperion.
Oh, Lord.
I forgot that was ever a city.
Colloquially referred to as Jacktown.
Jacktown?
Yeah.
What?
Like John.
John. Yeah.
I don't remember
Keats
that.
is an answer in there somewhere, guys.
Oh, man. Should have given us an easy one. Like, who is the
should have
poet
answered-
that he references 8 million times?
We didn't go with our own rule. We should have answered Keats for everything. If we didn't
should
know,
have
we would have
done
done
yeah.
it.
You would've-
I
and then you
forgot.
don't know, throw Keats in there. All right, number 16. Blank tried to destroy old Earth in the blank, but it was saved by the blank and moved to the blank. These sentences have become more and more blanks, like Mad Libs at this point. It's
Wasn't
great.
it, like, not actually moved, though?
No, it was. It wasn't actually destroyed. All right, Danielle,
No,
what have you got?
you gotta give me more time.
Right, okay. I'll give you, sure, that's how it works. Why not?
No, I don't know.
You don't got any of that?
No, remember the art? It was the artificial whatever to try to destroy old Earth when it was in the old Earth normal cluster of Earth, but it was ended up being saved towards the tail end, and it was moved to like at one point they thought it was in the Hercules cluster or something, or it went to the Hercules cluster, or it came back and they put it in by the moon or Mars, or I don't remember, Sam.
That was Philip. What have you got?
I'm gonna say the ousters tried to destroy the Earth in the future,
No, because the ousters were perfect.
but it was saved by the Technocore. No, sorry. It was moved to the past.
Okay, move to the past. That would be amazing.
No, the Technocore tried to destroy old Earth.
There you go.
When it was in
I
the
switched it.
normal Earth area, but it was saved by not the Technocore. It was who
It was
saved
saved by
it at
Keats
the
and
end.
moved to the past.
Yes, move to the past. Very good. No, you guys, you almost had it. It was the Technocore tried to destroy old Earth in the big mistake of 38.
Oh,
What?
you were looking for it. I thought it was like location of the Earth, which
Yeah.
I was technically I was correct on. It was where
I
it was
would have
supposed to be.
accepted it. I would have accepted the black hole or any of that other stuff. That was all acceptable. But it was saved by the lions and tigers and bears.
I was going to
when they
say
moved
that,
it.
but
yeah.
it sounded
Yeah.
stupid.
Nope, that sounds quite in there.
It sounded stupid. That was the
Yeah,
right
I was like,
answer.
no, they surely did not do that.
No, they did. And they moved it. You were right, Danielle, to the Hercules cluster.
Oh my god, I was so close.
Wow, Rachel.
So
He deserves
close.
all the points.
That was a really
I am
impressive
impressed.
showing. That was really good.
I'm giving myself half credit. You can't stop me.
I wasn't going to stop. I was going to give you 3/4, but you do you.
Well, 3/4. I'm doing it. 2 out of 3 for me.
All right.
Can't you really get 3/4 of a 3?
I may give a fraction. I don't care. I'm not going to actually write this down. You're not going to get a grade.
Oh, I was writing it down. I thought we were playing for keeps.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I should give you. You know what? I will mail a present to the winner of the
It's
exam.
me. I'm the winner.
Okay, great. I'll mail you a present. And we'll see at the end of this. All right, question 17. We're cruising. Humans who enter the data blank created by the Technocore are referred to as blank. Phil, you look very upset.
I was going to say datum plane, but it's already data, so that's not it. It's the data sphere
Yes, Philip. Very good.
created
You have the
by the
second part.
Technocore, and they referred to as cybrids, question mark, but that doesn't make sense.
Oh, close. Danielle, do you have Datasphere?
No, I couldn't remember. I knew it wasn't datum plane. I had the same thing. It was a UM, but I wrote cyberpukes.
Cyberpukes is correct.
What?
Between
How
the
do
two
you know
of you,
that?
you've managed to answer the question. It was the Datasphere and the Cyberpukes.
That's good. We each get 1.5
Cyberpukes.
points.
That's right. I love Cyberpukes.
I remember them, yeah. I remember them now. You all bring it back. I have closed it off and tried to forget them, but you all bring it back.
All right, we're almost through. So, question 18. Aeneas studied with famous architect blank at his compound called blank, located in the state of blank. Also referred to by Aeneas as the happiest time in her life, sadly, bafflingly. If you all could see how hard they're concentrating right now, it's really impressive. All right, Danielle, what did you got?
Okay. Aeneas studied with the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright, not
Correct.
Andrew Lloyd Webber. Woo!
Yep.
At his compound called Waterfall, or I don't remember.
No, you're thinking of falling water to the house.
Whatever, falling water, but not that. Located in the state of like Illinois or Indiana or Iowa.
That was the original location. This is the new one.
Okay, Sam, that's gotta be partial credit.
No, what do you got,
Ohio,
Philip? Not even
Maine.
close. Philip, what do you got? Did you get Frank Lloyd Wright?
No. the name I cannot remember.
We're looking for Frank Lloyd Wright at his compound called Taliesin West. The West was the clue. It was in Arizona.
Yeah. I sort of remember that.
Yeah. That was just real history about the man Frank Lloyd Wright.
Some of us have not studied him, Sam.
All right. I love this one. While supposedly impaled on the Tree of Pain, the strike's victim are actually in a blank located in the blank time tomb. Danielle's got a little jig. She's got it.
I don't think so, but I just put stuff down. I was making the little dance move for another reason.
Do you have any ideas?
They were in a virtual reality.
Yes.
I don't know what they called it, but it was
the virtual reality is acceptable.
Plane or data sphere.
No, all those simulation, virtual reality, all of that's acceptable.
And it was located in the heart of the time tomb.
Oh, so close. Danielle, do you have anything to add, or did you get virtual reality of some kind?
I wrote a simulation, but yes.
Perfect.
And located in one of the many time tombs, the Sphinx, perhaps?
Oh, no. It's the Shrike Palace.
Shrike Palace was my second guess.
Shrike Palace time tomb was where it was located.
That was going to be my guess.
All right. This is my favorite question, I gotta say. The blank time tomb never played any part in the story, and its purpose is still unknown.
I was just thinking, if I were to name the 4 time tombs...
There's more than 4.
There's more than 4.
Oh, never mind. I don't even know how many.
There are 3 cave time tombs at least. All right, Danielle, which time tomb was mentioned but never actually mattered in the story?
I don't remember. We had like the Sphinx and the Shrike Palace and the Crystal Monolith or whatever.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I'm impressed. Already should have points for that.
Easy Breezy Beautiful, Cover Girl. I don't know the other one.
Philip, any guess? There's also the Jade Palace, which is not what I'm talking about here. But this was the Obelisk. The Obelisk did nothing. All right, here we go. On old Earth, one of the Keats cybrids dies of blank, the same disease that killed Keats' original flavor.
Original flavor.
Danielle's got to be confident about this one. All right, Phil, we'll start with you. Do you know what killed Keats?
Yeah, I almost got it, but I forgot. It's like a very slow death, and he keeps whining about it. Dying very slowly.
Accurate, yes. Danielle, any thoughts?
TB.
Yes, correct. Tuberculosis.
Yes.
Consumption.
Okay. I remember that one.
Yes, tuberculosis was what killed Keats.
I knew that one.
I thought you did.
Because everybody in his family practically died of it. It was very sad.
All right. Aeneas' philosophy contains 4 steps, known as blank, 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 and blank. All right, Danielle, what have you got?
Learn the language of the living, dead.
Correct.
Learn the language of the dead. Learn the language of the living. There's
Correct.
a third one I can't remember, and then take the first step.
Correct. Wow, 3 out of 4.
Yeah, I remember to take the first step and the language. I think the first step isn't the languages, but it's actually something like get ready to learn or something like that, like something nonsense.
Oh, no.
Like it was something like
hear the music of the spheres. The music of the spheres. Listen for the music of the spheres. Learn the language of the living, learn the language of the dead. Listen for the music of the spheres.
Choose again, step 5.
Take the first step. Yeah, step 5, choose again. Correct. So good. All right. This is a stupid question. I'm sorry in advance, but I'm going to ask it anyway. The 7 Shrike pilgrims traveled on the tree ship Blank, who had a sister ship named the Blank, both of which were protected and propelled by Blank, fields produced by the psychic Blank.
Oh my god.
The last 2 questions are the dumbest questions I've ever written in my life, and I'm so excited to share them with you. All right, Philip, any thoughts at all? Or is it all just one big blank?
Blank, very hard, but I'm definitely drawing lots of blanks. I'm not sure.
All right, Danielle, any thoughts?
The 7 Shrike pilgrims traveled on the tree ship Yggdrasil.
Yggdrasil, correct.
Who had a sister ship named the Fiddrasil, and both of which are protected and propelled by anti-entropic fields produced by the psychic Nick Sykerson.
You started out so well. Yes, Yggdrasil was the tree ship. Its sister ship was the Sequoia Sepervirens.
Sure.
Yep.
You didn't know that, Philip?
Sepervirens. And they're both protected by the containment fields produced by the psychic ergs.
Oh, the ergs. I forgot they were they're psychic? I don't know if I knew that they were psychic.
They're psychically linked to the Templar. Remember, like, they felt them die.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have called them psychic beings. I think that's a iffy question.
I'm sorry, what would you call them?
I don't know. They're not psychic to everybody. They're just psychic to one thing.
That's all right. We're splitting hairs here. Number 24, second to last one. Rachel, who also goes by the name Blank, was blank years old when she contracted the disease known as blank in the blank time tomb. I'm so excited for my last question. You guys have no idea what question 25 is going to do. It's so good. All right, Danielle, what do you got?
Rachel, who also goes by the name Modita Moneta,
Yes?
was 20-something, 23
Ooh.
years old, 24, 26?
She was just 20.
20. Okay, well, she was 20-something. I was right. Years old when she contracted the disease known as Merlin sickness.
Yes! Wow!
In the... was it the Shrike Time Tomb?
No.
Not the Shrike, the one I said earlier.
The Sphinx Tomb.
Sphinx!
Yeah,
Philip
the
got
Sphinx.
it.
Yeah, the Sphinx Time Tomb.
How much of that did you get, Philip?
Yeah, of course I know Moneta, and I was guessing like 15 years old, so around there.
Okay, close, sure.
And the Merlin's disease, I had no idea Merlin's disease. I was writing like backwards ageism or something.
Yeah, that's also pretty good.
Well known backward ageism.
And
that was a tough one. I didn't think you'd get that one.
Very lucky. I just guessed one of the time tombs you just mentioned. So.
Yeah, you did. Very good, Philip.
I'm giving myself full credit for that one, just so you know.
Okay, well, whatever.
Whatever. I got like 20-something Monita Merlin sickness and the Sphinx Time Tomb.
All right. While living in the city of Blank, on the planet Blank, led by Blank King Blank, and working on his Blank, Martin Salinas transformed himself into the form of the mythical Blank. I love that question so much. I can't tell you how hard I laughed after I wrote it. I'm definitely editing down a lot of the time, so people, if you're mad that I'm making enough time, it's been edited. It's okay.
He's lying. We have no time.
No, what? All right, Philip, what have you got?
We're living in the city of Keats on the planet Hyperion, led by the true king himself, working on his Hyperion cantos. Martin Salinas transformed himself into the form of a mythical satyr.
Wow, Philip, that's mostly correct.
I can't pronounce it correctly.
You got satyr, you got Hyperion, and you got cantos. Danielle, can you fill in any of the blanks?
While living in the city of Keats in the planet of Hyperion, led by Sad King Billy, and working on his cantos, Martin Salinas transformed himself into the form of a mythical satyr.
Well, you didn't get this. No, you didn't get the city right. You're so close.
Not Keats?
It's City of Poets.
Wow.
The City of Poets. Right. But I'm impressed you got Sad King Billy. That was really impressive.
He was a main character there for a hot minute till he got eaten by the Shrike or whatever.
All right, guess what? Because I'm a nice and benevolent professor, I've got you a bonus question for extra points. The epitaph on Keats' grave reads blank.
I was sure this question was going to be right the four names of the Templars. I'm so disappointed.
Well, there's more exam to go. All right, Danielle, what is Keats' epitaph?
It says like written water or something like that.
That is very close. Philip, any thoughts?
Here lies the one who died of TB and had to pass kidney stones.
That is, if you put your hands together, it's here lies one whose name was written water.
See? So close.
That was so close. Guys, I'm very impressed. Danielle has a slight lead here at the end of the first.
More than slight.
I was being kind. But here's your chance to catch up because we're moving on to the short answer section.
Oh my god, this never ends. Much like the Hyperion canvas.
I really did capture the spirit of Hyperion. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read the question. You'll each have 1 minute to write your answer, and we'll see what you come up with.
There's more writing.
1 minute.
I'm like running out of paper.
1 minute.
I didn't plan with more paper.
It's more than enough time to write a really stupid answer.
I found a piece of paper.
All right. You ready for it? Your first question is, name the 3 prominent umbrella factions of the Technocore and describe their goals.
Oh, my lord.
Holy...
Go.
This question confuses me, which I'll talk about later.
I'll accept your complaints later.
It's not how you wrote it. It's my history on this podcast.
Danielle, what have you got for us? What's the answer you have?
There are 3 prominent umbrella factions in the Technocore. First one is the one that is kind of pro-ish humans.
Sure. What's it called?
Pro-ish humans.
Great.
And the second one is called anti-human / pro-AI god. And
Sure.
the third one's called the volatiles, probably.
Okay.
Or possibly that was what it was called in our first The Gods Themselves. I can't keep them track of these creatures. Anyway, there's 3 of them, and one is pro-ish
You pretty much said
humans.
it. Yep, got it.
One is trying to create the ultimate god. The ultimates!
There you
Oh,
go,
wow.
sure.
And the other one is more like Uman. There's Uman, there's angry ones, and I don't know the third AI.
You're getting further away from it. I'm going to cut you off before you talk yourself out of points. Philip, what have you got?
My answer is very similar. I don't remember the actual names. I remember one of them is pro-human, trying to not eliminate humanity. The other one is trying to eliminate humanity and create the super artificial techno-god. And then the last faction is kind of neutral, trying to just stay out of the conflict and be just accepting of both. And I would call them like the aggravated, the apologists, and the reroute.
You guys are all very close. You get some of the names a little mixed up. The stables were the ones that were trying to keep everything status quo, save humanity, keep with the relationship. The volatiles were trying to eliminate humanity, shake things up. And the ultimates were the ones who didn't care about what was happening, but were like, whatever it takes to make the ultimate intelligence.
I gave myself
Danielle,
2.5.
I think that's fair. I think, Philip, you get 1.5 for that, because you got the concept to get all mixed up.
But they're 5 points. Do I get more than 2.5? Because I got
No, you get
2
half.
of the 3 questions correct. 2 of the 3
Kind of.
names.
She should
I'll
get
give
at
you
least
3.
4.
I'll give you 3.
Excellent.
She got ultimate and volatiles, come on.
You have to argue your grades. You're probably worth more than 1.5 points, Philip.
You know what, Philip? 5 points.
That works. Cheaters never prosper.
I'm the professor here.
I'm going to report you to the school board.
I got to go with the dean. What are you going to do about it? All right, question 2. Describe how Braun Lamia's hybrid lover's conscious was saved just before his death. Why this was kind of messed up, and the implications for their unborn child.
I know this perfect. I don't even have to write it down. I can start
Perfect.
now.
I don't have to write it down
This
either.
was so upsetting
Oh, you're
to
ready
me.
to go? Great. Well, Philip, you can go first because that's your turn.
Well, as he was dying, he forced himself into her directly in her brain and uploaded his all consciousness into her brainium chip, whatever she has in her brain.
I don't know the name of it. All right, that's a point.
It's the Shred loop or something.
Shred- loop.
That's great. Yes.
Excellent
Wow.
work.
And
Full
therefore,
points so
when she
far.
has a child, it's just all the people are in there, and it's a child that's partly robot and partly human, even though it doesn't make any sense to me. It makes me very upset because it's all biological and there is no reason for it to be robotic in any kind. And anyway, so...
I think it's a 4 out of 5 answer. I'll explain why later.
And also, he transferred it in the moment he loved her the most, and also I think they had sex before it.
Yeah, well, they had lots of sex, lots of times. That's correct. All right, Danielle, do you have anything to add to Philip's amazing 4-point question?
I mean, mine was very similar. I wrote without her permission.
Yeah.
And the implications for the unborn child are that she basically got downloaded with all of humanity's knowledge while she was still a fetus. And so she came out a creepy adult child.
Okay, Danielle, that's a 5 points, essentially correct. You're all both right. Now, it goes a little further, though, because not only did he download his conscious into her Shron loop without permission, he had the Shron loop surgically implanted in her without her permission.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, I forgot
That
that
was
part.
without her permission. I thought covered that.
I didn't. The download was also that. Like, there were 2 things he did without her permission. Both of them were egregious. But yes, when she was, the implication is that through her father in the Shron loop, Ania had the connection to the Technocore, and all of the information of the Technocore was available to Ania in utero.
Gross.
Crazy. All right, question 3. Describe the true nature of the Technocore and its relationship to humanity.
Do you have 1 hour to talk about that?
Just summarize it as best you can in a few sentences, unless you're ready to go already. You guys were so ready in that last question.
We
I'm
can
very impressed.
oral argument this.
If you want to, yeah, you can do it. If you want to make a debate about this, I'm not opposed.
Not an actual argument. I'm just saying we could express our answers orally.
Oh, well, I want to get you written down so we don't have any cheating.
Oh, I get it. Psst, Philip, what'd you put down for question 3?
No! Stop!
How are we you cheating, Sam? Want me to hold up my piece of paper?
Look, I'm trying to put the veneer of an actual exam on this, Danielle. It's a theater of it all. All right, Danielle, what is your answer?
So the nature of the Technocore is more or less kind of evil.
Okay. Perfect.
And,
sure.
I thought it was a
they're
perfect answer.
using the humans as like food. And basically they have entrapped the humans into this kind of relationship where they have taken over all of humanity's creativity and technology. So they have stopped, trying to do anything because the Technocore can kind of do it all. Has behind the scenes has been able to like figure all that stuff out for them. So humanity's stagnated. So that's the relationship to humanity.
All right. Philip, do you have anything to add to that?
So let me start at the beginning with Thomas S. Ray, where he designed a programming language. And all these algorithms, they have been evolving. Okay, skip forward. How many years? How many thousands, millions of years? And then...
5 points, Phil. 5 points. 5 points.
Yeah, we'll give him a pass.
Yeah, I got it.
Just to stop me from talking. And then they needed to create the ultimate god, but they needed some processing power, so they kept switching from different methods of how to harness processing power from humans. So first
the only thing I had to say is none of you mentioned the key word, parasitism. Parasites.
Yep.
They were parasites
you're
with humanity.
implying that.
Yeah.
Symbiotic was the word I was looking for, but couldn't get too fast enough.
Either way, I think that's 5 points for Phil, for sure. That was a Phil question, 100%.
Didn't even get to answer it. I needed to fix
No,
60 more minutes.
We
I
know
believe
that
you.
you got it. You got it, Sam. We all believe you.
If you want to hear Philip talk about for half an hour, go listen to like episode 4 or 5 of The Rise of Endymion. All right, question 4, penultimate question. Describe the nature of the future war between humanity and the Technocore. Include who's fighting and how that war spurred the events of the novel.
I was going to get into it in the previous question. I thought it was kind of like part of it.
They're related, but I think it's more. I'm looking for short answers here, not the
So we
entire
get to talk
story of the
even more
book.
about this.
Yes, thank you. 5 points for Philip already. I can tell.
It's just all this. I'm not going to say anything so I don't spoil it for Danielle yet.
All right, Danielle, why don't you give us your answer to question 4?
Okay. So your question was describe the war that's happening.
The future
Correct.
war and how it spurred all the events of Hyperion novels.
Okay. So there is multiple factions that are kind of at war during this book, or the beginning of this book. There's like humanity, who thinks that the ousters
I said future war.
I don't know the future war, Sam. Which future war?
There's only one big future war. It's the ultimate future war, I would say.
With the ultimate god who's like gonna try and kill them all?
Yeah.
Okay, the nature of the future war between humanity and the Technocore. Basically, the Technocore has this giant, like, god that they're trying to create or will create in the future. And humanity doesn't want that. It's anti-humanity. It's going to wipe out humanity.
Okay. 2 points. Philip.
So let me come back again to Thomas S. Ray.
No!
So one of the concepts was that we need evolution and improvement and not stagnation, which is a problem of the Technocore, because when the algorithm and all these AI, super AI guys try to evolve, they would get kind of stagnant. So they wanted to create the ultimate artificial intelligence, aka HAI, and then they would have to create
The MUI, the Machine Ultimate Intelligence.
Oh, so yeah, the MUI and the HUI, because there's also the people-made artificial intelligence that's different.
Ultimate Intelligence,
I'm sorry.
So
there's
so
MUI
close. Keep going,
and the
Phil.
HUI, and then they need the power of empathy for some reason.
It's split into 3 factions.
There you go, Danielle. Danielle's got it. That's more points for Danielle.
Empathy is the main one that like disappears and is like, peace out. I'm going to go hide in the past.
That's right.
So the bottom line is that the future war is about people trying to not be exterminated and abused by the Technocore, because the Technocore needs them to be assimilated into the ultimate intelligence and eliminated, so the people don't evolve past it and don't destroy the Technocore, but the Technocore needs the people to evolve and be a better ultimate intelligence. And
Sure, good enough. I think the base idea was there's a war between the two ultimate intelligence, the one that arose naturally from humanity and the one that was created by the Technocore, and part of the humanity's ultimate intelligence fled back in time.
And they're on pause because apparently they've decided they can't fight fair unless all of the parties are present.
So the whole purpose of the books is trying to draw out the empathy AI, which is what Ania is she is the empathy portion of that ultimate intelligence that has been created through all those machinations, et cetera, et cetera.
That's what I was getting to. I was rudely interrupted. And I was also going to say... I was going to say that the ousters evolved themselves because they choose to become better people and completely solved this whole issue, and were never talked about, not brought up, and not used in the entire book series. God damn it.
Save it for your oral presentation, which we're going to get to momentarily.
Oh my gosh.
All right, final question. Describe the nature and history of the Shrike. Include its origin, its purpose, and how come there is supposedly only one of them.
Well, you brought this up to yourself, Sam.
I know. I invited the rant mode from almost done. And then your final's over. You can graduate. All right, Danielle. You're starting us off. You look like you're ready. Let's do it.
So, in the future, they use Kassad's general vibes to create a Shrike, which is like this murder machine that comes from the future into the past to throw raves, help kill people, and help Ania, help humanity, help future, help Techcore. Who even knows what the Shrike's whole deal is? But it's come back from the future into the past to throw raves and get kittens. The end.
Okay. Pretty good.
5 out of 5.
Phil, do you have anything to add?
Raves and kittens, Sam. 5 points.
Philip?
The original explanation and origin that I was satisfied with before they ruined it with what Daniel said next time, was that when an algorithm or artificial intelligence tries to evolve, it eventually stagnates, and that's why it gets killed off by something called the Shrike, which was inspired by the deep dive of the guy I shall not mention again because I already talked about him twice.
The cleaver or whatever part that
the
he
Reaper,
came up with. Reaper.
Yeah. So basically algorithms that don't evolve anymore and make more mistakes are ended by like a supervisor thing, and that's the Shrike that was the original idea behind it. That was what inspired it. That's how I'd like to understand it, to not be angry about it.
So I'd say you're both pretty close to what I was expecting, which was the Shrike was, yes, sent back in time and based off Kassad and as part of the Reaper's program system. But its purpose was to try to draw out the empathy portion of humanity by torturing humans on the Tree of Pain to make the empathy portion feel all that human empathy and emerge finally from hiding.
I'm not sure that I got that from the books when you explained them. And also,
that was the original part in the first 2 books. In the second 2 books, it got dumber, which is Phil was talking about, where it became maybe helping humanity, maybe not helping humanity.
Which is what I said. Also, and then Ania and him were like practically best friends.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense if he's supposed to be like, hey, Ania, come out and play. And she's like, let's go to the party.
Look, I'm not saying you got the answer wrong yet. I was just saying what I was expecting. But also you forgot, how do we know there's only one Shrike?
Yeah, that was my question. I remember there were like hundreds when Kassad
Because Kassad defeated the army of Shrikes in the future before he was placed in the Crystal Palace as his tomb.
But time, it doesn't matter, Sam. He could create more Shrikes. He could be all the Shrikes. All the Shrikes,
that's all I'm saying. That's just what I'm just saying what the book says.
He could populate his own raves with Shrikes.
Very true. Look, controversial questions, I'll admit. But you guys got through it? Well, I do have a surprise for you. Bonus question time!
Isn't that already the bonus question?
Yes. Name the 3 Templars mentioned in the Core Quartet books and make up one plausible Templar name for yourself.
But aren't there 4? I thought there were 4.
There were 4, but only 3 of them were mentioned in the original book.
Oh.
Yeah. Or not at all. Implied. I don't remember. But the only 3 that are actually mentioned. Okay, Danielle is ready, but we're going to start with Philip when he's ready.
Of course, there's Hetmastine and Ketrostine.
Yes.
That's the original duo. And then I forgot. I even looked this up after our podcast last time. I was reading. I was laughing about this with Chan so hard we kept making up names. And I had the four names, but I forgot them. It was something like Rickerstein. I don't remember.
Sure. Good. Is that you? What's the name you made for yourself, Philip?
Fetbastine.
Fetbastine. Very good. Danielle, what did you got?
Got Hetmastine, Ketcastine, Finn Flamstein, and Carla Holstein Keats, who married one of the Cybrids and hyphenated her maiden name.
That's very good. Full bonus points for both of you.
Excellent.
I was looking for Hetmastine, Ketrostine, and Sekhardine.
I don't know. Hardine. What's the fourth one, though? You know?
Redicastine, but she's not mentioned in those books. All right. Well, you guys have done it. You've completed the written portion of your exam. We can move on now to the oral presentation, which you've prepared some lists, which I'm excited to hear all about.
Lists.
Philip, this was your idea. Would you like to introduce the concept?
So, as per tradition on my show, I cannot not think about this when we finish a series. I need to get it off my chest, and that's the list of top best and top worst from the whole series. And are we gonna do like one each or the whole list each?
I think so.
How do you want to do it? Okay.
I think one each. Yeah.
I have to say that I'm very excited that Philip likes lists because Sam does not like lists, and now I have a list buddy.
I don't dislike lists. I'm just not as obsessed with them as you are.
3 years of our friendship suggest otherwise.
I made a list of 25 freaking questions for you just now.
Way different, Sam.
Okay.
So just to be clear, this can be anything. Doesn't have to be like a character. Doesn't have to be like a moment. Doesn't have to be like it could be anything. So I'm very curious. It always brings up stuff that you kind of gloss over or forget. So I'm also excited if we're going to match I and Danielle. Do you want to be positive or negative first?
Let's end on a positive note. So start with the negatives, I think.
Yeah, the negative one is like I couldn't stop making more lists when I was trying to prepare.
Oh, Phil.
So I have to do like runner-ups. Just like I have to mention this.
Great.
This couldn't make the list, but I am so upset that the stupid book covers have only 2 arms. I'm so upset. And I'm so upset. Even the statue in the writer's house at his home, it has 2 arms. I'm so upset about this. But there are bigger issues, so this is just a runner-up.
Okay.
I had to mention that at least.
I have a runner-up as well.
All right, Danielle,
okay,
please.
I called it an honorable mention, but runner-up works. And my runner-up for worst thing is the Shrike being explained. Didn't want it, don't need it.
Also valid.
Okay, so my number 5 worst is Roll fighting Nemes and winning.
Yes!
That's mine too!
Oh!
I called
We got
it
a
the best
double
worst.
Ding, 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 ding. We have a double worst. Consensus.
So wait, is it your number 1 or number 5?
It's my number 5.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Wow.
You guys share a brain.
I both loved it and hated it.
Yeah.
This was infuriating. There is no reason for any of this.
Look, this is proven that this is objectively, these lists are true. Objectively now. They can confirm by repetition.
Okay, my number 4.
Number 4.
Is the fact that by realizing something you get ultimate powers. And by the something I mean realizing you're in love. And I hate this so much. This comes up in so many stories that don't make any sense. How could you gain ultimate superpowers by realizing you love somebody? What does it even mean? Why
because love is the force of the universe, Philip.
Yeah,
and that's part
obviously.
of this point. The love being an ultimate power, like force of the universe.
Like
Please.
Gravity.
Please cut me out so I don't have to swear or something. I'm trying to do it out.
Not in the classroom, Philip, please. We gotta be professional.
Okay. Well, calm down. Made me so angry when you said that. I was like, there's gonna be something. It's gonna be something I'm gonna bring up. It's gonna be the ultimate answer to anything.
The ultimate
gonna
force
think
is
about
love.
it gonna happen. And at one point of the book, you just thought about it and teleported. I was just like, how?
I was going to ask you about love on the exam, but I figured that would start one of these conversations. I was like, I'll save that for Philip.
Don't trigger me.
All right, Danielle, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Rawl spending the entire story obsessed with who Ania slept with and not about anything important.
I'm surprised it's only number 4 for you.
Exactly. This is also on my list.
I would have put that higher personally, but what do I know?
Definitely a desire. So my number 3 is the whole plan we talked about in one of the questions, the Technocore factions and the plan of the UIs and ultimate UIs, and then a part of the book that literally says, none of this matters.
I'm surprised that's not his number 1.
You're right.
He was so
really
mad.
hates it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's true. I love it. They're like, well, that's kind of a simplification. The real answer is dumber.
Why would you set this up? It was the only through line that made any sense, and then you just threw it out in the trash. Why?
So good. So good. I mean, not that, but your reaction to it. Okay, Danielle. Number 3. Give it to us.
My number 3 is kind of related to Philip's number 4, but that it took Rawl 2 books to get out of the cat box that he could have just magicked himself out of.
At
2 books
any time.
previously.
At any time, you could have left that cat box.
How do you learn that you can do magic disappearing acts and then not think about it when you're stuck inside of a cat box?
Because he was compelled to write the blah, 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 blah.
This is why it makes me so angry, because he literally did think about it at the time he wrote about it. If it made any sense, it would have happened at the time he thought about it when he wrote about it.
He's like, oh, wait a second. I can disappear out of here.
He literally said that in his own writing.
He wasn't ready, though. All right, Philip. Number 2, we're getting there.
My number 2 is Rawls and Unia's relationship. I don't understand
Just in general?
why. Yes, why
fair.
if the relationship
Right,
wasn't there at all, it wouldn't have changed anything, and it would have eliminated all this kiddo cringe and all this like gross, just pedophilia thing that's implied. And even if
No, it's very carefully not implied,
actually.
which makes it way grosser in a way. Like it's so carefully, guys, it's definitely not pedophilia. I promise.
There is
you're
nothing
a lot.
of substance of their relationship that brought anything to the story in any way.
It gave him the magic power to get out of the cat box. If he
Okay,
didn't have
that's
love,
one thing, I guess.
he wouldn't have had the power.
Which is the thing that makes me so angry. So I don't like. There's no reason for this relationship. Roll does nothing of substance or importance. Just remove the character and just focus on Ania would be the simplest choice. Like Sam said it himself. If they didn't have Roll at all and they just followed Ania, it would have been so much better in all ways.
Oh, okay. Danielle, what's your number 2? Is it the same thing?
It's Rawl calling Ania kiddo. So
Yeah,
yes.
pretty much. Yeah.
The same thing. Oh my God.
That was that's going to be pretty high up there.
And your number 1, Philip?
So my number 1 is irrelevant, bog you down, informational, infuriation, unreliable, just informational noise. Why? Setups that don't pay off, things you discuss in incredible depth, never brought up again. There's just like all this stuff packed into it that could potentially, there's so much potential and could be used in so many creative ways. And they are never used anyways. And the only thing that is used I can remember is somebody was a mason and then he just shouldered the wall and it fell down. And, edit it. Duh, have an editor, for God's sake. It would have been a great story, like the world building, amazing, everything, like the concepts. There's some
Philip,
clever things in this
sorry.
book. But then it's all just piled onto you for no reason. And it's like if the writer's hobby is to constantly switch from anything that's interesting. Like, let me talk about this. Do you like that? Oh, let me talk about that. Do you like that? No.
So your number 1 is the basic structure of the story and how it meanders and it's not edited well enough for you.
I'm going to call it informational noise. Like I just read like the summaries for this book before our episode today. And it's just like, it's like you have this like when somebody talks about something you don't care about, they just start doing it and you just try to hold on for dear life and it doesn't work. It's just like, stop, just focus on something. Oh my Lord.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
That's very valid. Wow. Okay. Strong feelings from Philip. Danielle, what have you got for number 1?
My number 1 is Rawl.
Just don't like him. Just don't like him. I love
That was it. All of my worsts were Rawl.
You just don't like him and he bogs down the story for you. Got it.
It's the first thing I thought of. He's my number 1.
No further explanation needed. I think we all got it. Well, let's move on to the positive aspects. Philip, what was your number 5 favorite?
I have to
You
do
have
a
an
quick
honorable
honorable mention quickly.
Yep, there we go. I should have forgotten, sorry.
Same deal. Japanese book art, book covers, amazing for all the books. Please
Very
look
good.
them up. They all have 4 arms. They are amazing, back and forth, and they are aligned. If you put them next to each other, the whole 4 books, there is a picture of Keats in the background that is like an overarching space figure. And
Very good.
There is nudity and gore and like, people everywhere like, dying and flying in space. Better
All the
than
good
the books. These covers are amazing.
All right, Danielle, what's your honorable mention? I know you have one.
My honorable mention is The Bathroom on the Ocean Planet.
Yay!
Love it.
Yeah.
I'm here for
Need
it.
Yep.
So my number 5 top is the Shrike. I was very close to putting it on the top first, and it kept oscillating between the lists and going up and down. And clearly this is one of the characters that everybody will remember. Anybody who's ever read any of these books will always remember the Shrike. And it's been one of the best and worst things. It's been abused, misused, forgotten, and misunderstood. And it likes to watch and appear for no reasons and just over-explained.
Your number 5 is a Shrike. The Shrike isn't higher than number 5 for you.
Yeah, exactly for all these reasons I'm saying, because there's so many problems with the Shrike.
So you're saying the Shrike number 5 because it got over-explained, which brought it down a few notches.
It brought it down by what it does, what it is, what it means, how it's used, how it ends.
Sure.
It's like the best thing, but used in the worst way. So that's why it's number 5.
I understand. Danielle might argue with you, I guess, about that.
The failings.
Oh, okay. We'll get to them, I'm sure. What's your number 5, Danielle?
My number 5 is the Soul and Rachel storyline. I think it's the best storyline in the entire book.
I tend to agree. I always remember that story the most.
It's the only story he writes well. It arcs well. It doesn't tangent very much. It like has a full beginning, middle, end. It's empathetic. You care about it. Like it's his best writing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I don't disagree. I like that. I know this is controversial. Of the Pilgrim stories, that one had the biggest impact on me emotionally, and the story of Hoyt and DeRay also had a big impact of the Pilgrim story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying the Hoyt DeRay story later in the books made as much of an impact, but in terms of the Pilgrim stories from the first book, definitely those two. All right, Philip, what you got for number 4?
Uman.
Uman!
I'm surprised
Uman
this
didn't
wasn't
even
number
come
1
into my mind.
on the first list.
list.
So let me explain a little bit.
You don't explain it to me. You got to explain it to Danielle. She doesn't get it.
No, it's a different reason than you think, Sam, because
Oh.
at this point of the book series, I was so fed up with everything that this tipped the scale over the point of no return, and I was ready to accept like the way the book is written, because this was so insane and so out there and so nonsensical that it almost started to make sense again. It was like a full circle kind of
So
thing.
this pucked it from bad to good for you.
It was so hard, like bad of the wall, just nonsense. Then I somehow found some meaning in it that I probably injected myself. And I even reread the parts from Uman sometimes, like the nonsensical writing style was so out there that I almost appreciated it. And I was ready to accept that I will just absorb all this informational noise and make some sense out of it and have a good time with it. And I really like that part for some reason. It's, I guess, just my wishful thinking.
I thought it was going to be the Coens he talked to, but what do I know?
So that's my number 4.
Okay, Danielle?
My number 4. First, I want to add one to the worst list that I just thought of.
Is it Uman?
No. Yes. But also race.
Yes, I was surprised
Race.
it wasn't there.
Race, fair
I
enough.
forgot to add the race to the worst list.
Where would you put
Makes
them in
me-
the worst list? Would they bump something else off, or are they another honorable mention?
That it took him 2 books to get out of the cat box, I would take off in lieu of the race.
Got it. Fair enough. We know you have strong feelings about the race not being actual race.
All right, my number 4. Fat line squirts.
Yes!
They're so good.
Oh, amazing.
No, that's what she said.
Oh, Philip.
But I'm bumped.
Yeah. No explanation needed. Brilliant way of communication. Brilliant way of talking about it. A+, no notes. All right, Philip,
my
here's number 3.
is a reasonable time travel story that made sense? Question mark. So I think it could have been so easy and so expected and so transparently, like, in the direction that this would have been so overboard by the writer to overindulge in time paradox, time travel, like everything would be its own father and everything would be wrapping up around in a time loop. And somehow it was okay. I was so surprised that the time travel elements made sense. I was so surprised, very pleasantly. So I have to give it to him.
That's fair.
Yeah.
The only thing that I thought was a little hokey was Nia time traveling to have a baby with Rawl, but that was mostly because he didn't figure that out. And that would be my number one, probably, would be the whole...
the fact she did it, even that fit. All the timelines fit into each other, which I'm amazed by. So.
Yeah, but the timeline, you're right, Philip. Overall, for a time travel story, it's with things traveling backwards in time and then meeting up in the fourth, it all kind of worked. So that's true. Very impressive.
Definitely. Good point.
Very good. Danielle?
My number 3 is the mantas on the Benaries.
The Benaries, the river mantas pulling the Benaries?
Yeah, I really like the mantas. I'm sad they didn't make it in the end.
They went free, let's assume.
I would also like to give an honorable mention to the giant cuttlefish. I feel like he underutilizes his giant creatures that he puts into play.
They're cool. I forgot about those manta rays, the river rays.
Yeah, such a good idea.
Very
evocative.
Okay, Philip, we're getting down to it. Penultimate best thing.
It's a little bit of a cop-out, but I'm going to say world building. I love the imaginatory, like, places and all the things. Fatline squirts, mantas, flying cuttlefish, Tesla trees. Everything that you talk about in this book is so cool sounding and to imagine, like all the vistas and landscapes and creatures. It sounds amazing if you just think about the concept and visual. Only just the visual part of it sounds amazing. So I have to give it to him for all the imagination. If only it was edited and used in a good way.
Fair enough. When we get to our final thoughts, I'll have things to say about that. All right, Danielle, number 2.
Number 2 is the cruciform. What a cool thing.
Yeah.
And how he used it, like the premise of like this took over the entire church, and it's like their way of being able to reincarnate. It's like works perfectly with the church concept. I think like that was brilliant. Good job.
Really, that is, in my opinion, again, final thoughts, we'll get to this more, but his best melding of theme and plot. Like that's the best plot tool he makes that melds with his overarching themes.
Yep.
Very well done.
Absolutely agree, cool. And that's my number 1. So.
Philip, number 1. All right. Cruciform number 1 for Philip. Do you want to have anything to add?
Yeah, because the first story in the first book about the Bikura and just the pilgrimage, or not pilgrimage, what do you call that?
The mission work.
The mission, yeah. So I think that's the best. That's like from the whole book series. Unfortunately, this one story is the best writing to me. It's the most memorable. It's the most cool. It's intriguing. It's mysterious. It's scary. It's all the themes packed in a nice way. And it's got a very original thing, the cruciform, that's very well utilized as one thing should be in the whole series. So definitely the best part of the whole series.
I like that you don't really see that coming. Like I mean, it's such an obvious use of it when you start to think about it, that when it's used with the Bikura, it's like, okay, it's just some weird civilization that's like
horror or whatever. Yeah.
And then it becomes like the whole pinnacle of the entire plot line practically.
Yeah, the whole thing pivots around it.
The whole supernatural, religious, and technological theme packed into one is like a thing that's even recently very popular in storytelling, and it's done that's usually poorly or like cheesy. And when it's done well, it really works, and it is done well here. So
that the cruciform is the intersection of the religious themes, the science fiction themes, and the philosophy themes sort of intersect there. Yeah, it's a good point.
It works in all ways. Very, very clever. So yes.
All right, Danielle, what's your number 1? Is it the Shrike?
My number 1 is DJ Shrike, Sam.
Oh, sorry,
DJ Shrike.
Oh, my mistake. DJ Shrike.
Because he pulled me through 4 books. Without DJ Shrike, I would not have lasted. He was the only thing I cared about. I'm still sad how he ended up, but I really appreciate that he was a DJ for so much time.
And he guided you. Yeah.
And he guided me. The creation of DJ Shrike really helped me. And I really like that he showed up all over the place, and we still have no reason for why he showed up all over the place.
Inscrutable, the mysterious DJ Shrike. Still love it.
It's my favorite of the unanswered questions from Daniel Simmons.
That's a very valid. I think that's great. I'm surprised you didn't put out our biggest moneymaker yet, the dehumidifier. But
That's
I
true.
don't think that came out of that as well.
Well, that can go on your best list, Sam.
That's true. Well, I gotta say, based on your oral presentations and your test scores, which I'm just tabulating up right now. Yes, very good. Yes. Congratulations! You both passed. You graduated. You received your doctorate degrees in Hyperionology.
That's
I
probably
have
true.
to bow to Danielle. I'm super impressed about your answers to this test. Also, the recaps. It's amazing how much you can remember because I'm just overwhelmed with noise and I just forget everything afterwards.
You
So
did
kudos to
much
you.
better on the little essay questions, so good job, you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to put out my final thoughts here just to sort of wrap it up because I've had quite a journey with these books. And to be clear, despite all the things we harp on and that we complain about, I've read these books 3 times. And I've never regretted reading them. Sometimes I skim a little, sometimes I'm a little angry at them. I never come away thinking that was a waste of time or I'm sorry I read those because as Phil was mentioning earlier, I think the themes and the world building are super interesting. There's a lot of really interesting concepts like the cruciforms. And I kind of even love how Martin Salinas comes through everything from beginning to end, and he's always there, alive, being a total jerk to everybody. That's kind of fun. I think there's a lot of really clever stuff in there, and he's not a bad writer. Like I said, I think he's a good writer. I think he suffers a little bit in the latter books from writing too much, not having enough editorial oversight to kind of help focus his ideas down. But, that's fine. I can just ignore the parts that annoy me and focus on things that I think are very interesting. And I have super fun time talking about these books, so I can't really complain about that. So those are my final thoughts. I think the world building, the themes are super good. The characters are usually pretty good, although I think Rawl is a notable exception to a character I wish either didn't exist or was in a substantially different role. But that's more of a personal thing, I feel. So I can't speak for as a universal truth.
We need to find a Rawl apologist and have them on the podcast.
I would love to have someone who really loves the character of Rawl and hear their perspective, because I am honestly fascinated to hear that. I'm not saying I would agree with them or they convince me. I would expect myself to convince them. I just want to hear their perspective. I'm sure it's fascinating.
I've noticed that on other podcasts, if there is a commenter and he writes an essay where he super disagrees and then they invite him on the podcast, that's usually a really good episode. So if you get a comment or somebody is very angry, you should invite them and talk to them about it. It's always fun.
No promises. If you're a crazy person, can't promise anything. But, hey, we're always happy to receive your messages or comments, and we will review them and take them into consideration.
I'm not sure this is the time and place, but I have more things to say, so please cut this out if you don't like it.
No, I think this is good, because I think we have a nice spread here of someone, me, who has read all the books several times, Philip, who's read several of the books once, and Danielle, who's read exactly one book.
But had to listen for 3 years.
Right. So I'd be really interested to hear all of your perspectives, having experienced these books in different ways.
Yeah. I want to say a few things real quick. I want to say it's very original compared to other sci-fi series, like other sci-fi books. I've never read anything like it, so I have to give it that.
That's very true, yes.
And I also have to say that in most sci-fi grand concepts, like stories, the characters don't exist. And the characters, as much as we don't like them, disagree with them, or they're put in a bad manner, they feel like characters, and there is some kind of character arc. So I have to give it that. Like, if you compare it to the free body problem we keep talking about on my show, the characters are just nothing. There's no character.
They're just there to advance the plot.
There is no character. So this has interesting characters, so I have to give it that too. And last thing I wanted to say, I have to get off my chest, is that I would love there to be a remake of Hyperion. I keep saying that there are so many remakes of movies, and they always pick the wrong movies to remake. I wish they picked a movie that was an interesting concept but didn't do well and was forgotten. So why don't they remake those movies? They constantly are Hollywood's bankrupt for creative ideas. There are so many creative ideas that didn't end up being commercially successful. And I don't know if Hyperion has been commercially successful. Probably yes. But I wish they did that with books. I wish they picked books that has something amazing.
Why don't they do that with books? That's a great idea.
Great question.
Yeah, I keep saying this.
$1 million idea. Copyright us. Nobody steal it.
I keep saying this on my show and all this to my friends. There's a very clear answer why they don't do that. Because writers don't want their copyrights and ideas be worked on by somebody else. it's too much work and there's no commercial financial incentive to it because books don't make that much money. And you wouldn't make money of it. Like if you hired a new writer to rewrite Hyperion and then sold it again, the majority...
Or even asked Simmons to write it again, yeah.
Even the Simmons, anybody who would write it again, the majority response would be like, why? We don't care, we've read it. And the people who would want to read it would say, oh, I want to read the original anyway. I don't want to do the rewrite. It feels wrong.
That's interesting. I feel there is I think you're right. I think there's a market for that. I would be fascinated to read re-releases or, remasters, whatever you want to call it.
Exactly.
Part of it is, I think, the higher status for right or wrong that books are given in the cultural hierarchy. Mm-hmm. Like movies are considered mass commercial media. And so we make a movie, that's fine. Or a TV show, that's like crass media, no one cares. Mm-hmm. Or a comic book even. People re-release those or rewrite those all the time.
Yeah.
But literature is a storied tradition that goes back, and it's once it's written and put out there, it's sealed in stone as no one's going to rewrite To Kill a Mockingbird or remake.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. The classics cannot be touched. So that's exactly.
But that's the thing, yeah. But I think that sort of idea applies to literature as a whole, for right or wrong.
Wouldn't it be fun to write a book for public consumption, and the whole point is that other people should write how they would write that story?
Yeah. See, again, I think that's great. And I'll be clear, I don't agree with that concept of movies or TV shows a lower form of media than books. I think all media has its merits. So I'd be interested to hear. I think you're right. I think it'd be fascinating to have re-releases or updates to these
and I think this book series is a prime candidate to do that. I would love to reread this if it was focused and rewritten in a more understandable, easier to consume manner. And I think this will never happen. I think the only way this will happen is we will be loading into our brain. We will be loading the books because it takes too long. If there is a way in the future... I want to disagree
about one thing. I don't want the books easier to understand necessarily. I don't want to dumb down or simplified. I like the idea that they are somewhat inscrutable because the mystery of the Shrike, I don't need all that explained. But I would like it to be more focused and
that's the thing, yes.
Through lines. Yes, more. I think that's true. Yeah,
exactly. So I think it might happen in the future when we have a brain chip and they keep just loading books. So at that time, it will probably become a trend that people will start remaking books so they can load them in your brain in a different way. I think that's gonna be a thing. But until then, probably bad luck.
Unfortunate.
There's some fan fiction out there where people have rewritten entire novels.
I mean, that's a good point. I think fan fiction is basically that.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. It's viewed as a lower form of media, for right or wrong. I don't think the media necessarily have a hierarchy of what is good media or bad media. So
if it was in any way possible and I had the money, I would definitely start a company that rewrites books.
But you can just rewrite a book, not not directly, but people have taken fan fiction and published it by, tweaking the names and characters and stuff.
Yeah, so, and it's become very famous sometimes.
Yeah, so you could do it.
I'm afraid that if I started rewriting 4 books of Hyperion, I wouldn't finish before I die, so I'm not sure that's a good move.
That's something what Philip needs is collaborators. It sounds like we have a new venture, Danielle.
Join our Patreon for...
That's right. Support our venture to rewrite the Hyperion novels.
If you pay me until I die to comfortably live, I'll start right now.
Great. Oh, thank you, Philip. I think that was very insightful.
Thank you for letting me rant on this show so much.
Yeah, we love it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we love it. I couldn't have made it without you.
Yeah. Someone who read exactly one book, which I think was not the best book. It was the second
one.
Yeah.
It's better than Endymion.
I think that's the second. I think Hyperion the First is very good for its strange structure. I think Hyperion, the Fall of Hyperion, has the best plot coherency. The plot makes the most sense in my opinion.
Does it?
I think it does. Compared to the other ones, yes. Because the Hyperion itself is 7 separate stories or 6 separate stories. So it's not like there's really an overarching plot, really. And Endymion is a hot mess when it comes to a lot of the plot stuff. So we're going to talk about that.
And Endymion is definitely the worst of the bunch.
But what is your perspective having listened to us talk about them more than having read them?
I don't know how much of it's just that I had to listen to it for 3 years, but I feel from what Philip was saying that it feels like a very visual book. You know how some books kind of you can visualize really easily or they kind of stick in your heads. And I feel like that's probably likely for this series just because the stuff that he creates is very different than what you would read other places, and interesting concepts like the Tesla trees, like you mentioned earlier. Like, I could totally visualize what those look like, and I've never read the book. That was just from your description of it, or, you know, whatever. There's many descriptions like that in the book. And so I think I appreciate that. And again, I don't know if that's so much from listening to it, so I have to visualize it versus reading it where it's like written on paper.
No, I would agree. I think he does a lot, like, I've read for you some of his descriptive stuff, and he goes into a lot of description sometimes too much, but you really do get a strong visual sense. That is true.
And I think you get that just even from the basic descriptions that you have given me over the years. It's not like you're reading the whole chunk of description of these, whatever. Let's use the Tesla tree as an example. The concepts are very visual and very interesting. I do think that in retrospect, listening to all of the episodes again, that the first book is the one that will probably stick in my head the most, possibly because it's just my first introduction to it. But I also think the story made much more sense to me. And that's just me. I don't care about all the technicore, blah, blah, blah. Don't care, etc. Whatever war. I don't care. I care, but I don't really care.
I should have been more clear. When I said the second one had the more coherent plot, I meant that, like, traditional single plot threads or a couple of plot threads are all going in the same direction, as opposed to 7 or 6 or 5 different little short stories that were kind of unrelated.
Yeah, but I think that's the part I'm going to remember the best, because it's humanized, right? As Philip said, a lot of sci-fi doesn't have strong character arcs, but he really tried his best, I guess, to make those characters pretty interesting or relatable, or relatively three-dimensional. And so that's really what I think of the most, I think, other than my hatred of Rawl, who's genuinely terrible main character energy.
But to be fair, I think Simmons is a good enough writer that he clearly got you emotionally invested enough to hate Rawl. So that's a point for him.
Yeah. I mean, I think the concept of having the Rawl character, of having somebody who's like not directly we've talked about this directly,
just not utilized in the right way.
Yeah, it's not utilized correctly. Yeah, it's not utilized correctly. Like, he could be experiencing all that information so we could learn it with him, which is how you would normally do that story. Instead, he's just like, I'm not going to go to any of Ania's things because I'm mad at her that she may have slept around before she saw me. Like, he spends the whole time just wandering the city while she's having like meetings and learning things and telling her people about like she's answering all the questions we needed to know.
I meant to say the characters really feel like people, so there is clearly something that Simmons can
some
write
people you won't like, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, like, it's not like he's a bad writer. He just needs to focus more. Like, there is something like it made us feel.
And the thing that springs to mind for me is comparing like the first Hyperion books to like the first Star Wars trilogy, the original Star Wars trilogy, and the second Hyperion books to the Star Wars prequels, where the first one, George Lucas had a bunch of constraints. He was working on small budgets. He had to focus, and he let other people help him edit and direct and things like that. And in the third, in the other 3 movies, no one was directing for him. No one was telling him no, and he was just going all Lucas. And you get still very interesting and visually arresting movies that had some of the worst dialogue ever put to film, which is just because dialogue's not his strong suit. You know, when other people write the dialogue from his ideas, it usually works better. You know, it doesn't mean he's a bad director or a bad idea person. It just means that this wasn't his comfort zone or whatever. So I find that like the Endymion books are like that, and that they like, oh, this one is unleashed, where he feels no compunction to like try to accommodate people more. So I just put any ideas I want out there, and I'm not really going to think about whether they're, you know, going to be filtered or anything. So
there aren't many these grand stories that are unleashed, so to speak. Yep. So that's something to be experienced.
Yeah, for sure. I think if you're someone who likes sci-fi and weird sci-fi and grand ideas, you will get something from these books.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll enjoy them in certain ways. They might frustrate you in some other ways, but I think, yeah, you might skim some parts like I do usually whenever I read them. But in general, I think they're a worthwhile read. And I think they've had a big impact. There's people who are big fans of these books, and I think that's totally reasonable. All right. Well, we did it, guys. We had a whole episode discussing Hyperion that was as long as most of our Hyperion episodes because we had so many thoughts.
Thanks a lot for the quiz.
No, it was because there was a 25-question quiz at the beginning.
Yeah. Look, would you have accepted anything less to wrap up the epicness. Would you accept like, oh, here's 3 questions, a quiz on Hyperion? No,
I
that would
would
be
have accepted
unacceptable.
anything between 10 and 15.
Look, I don't do things by half. If I'm going to go over the top, I'm going to do a Simmons. I'm going to go over the top and not be edited.
Duly noted.
I feel much better, so thank you. You have released me, Sam. I think until you get into your head that you want to cover some more Simmons, I think I'm free. So
well, I'm so
very happy.
glad, Philip. It was an
Yay.
absolute
Very
delight
good.
having you join us.
That's good because
Yeah.
he was so angry at the end of the last episode. I'm
I
glad
was
you come
honestly
to
worried.
full round to acceptance.
I was genuinely concerned for your mental health. Like,
Never
did we
coming back.
break Philip?
The sentiment that I had to go boxing for 3 hours wasn't a joke, so I'm very angry.
Well, I'm
So
glad
thank
you're
you.
fully recovered.
Thank you so much. I had lots of fun. I'm very grateful that you invited me and I could experience this together, because if I experienced it alone, I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have made
ditto.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Well,
that.
Philip, where can people find more of you if they'd like?
Thank you so much for giving me a shout out. You can find me
Always.
at mindduckbooks.com if you want to hear us talk about the Free Body Problem series or the whole 6 books of Dune series. If you like grand sci-fi, please check that out. And thank you so much for having me on.
Of course. And if you want to reach out to us and send your answers into the exam, I will grade it if you take our exam that we'll share.
He would, actually.
I absolutely would. If you want to send that in, I'll grade it. You can do that at bookretorts.com.
You can also message us at Blue Sky at Book Retorts.
And if you want to help us and Philip get our fledgling publishing company off the ground where we rewrite books like Hyperion, maybe in very subtle ways to avoid copyright infringement, you can do so at patreon.com/bookretorts.
Great idea. Get on it.
All right. Well, until next time, just remember, you never know when there's going to be a pop quiz, so be prepared.
Choose again.
Oh,
Choose again.
no.
Until next time, bye.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Your Thomas Ray knowledge is deep and disturbing. I am honestly a little afraid of how much you know about
I'm
this.
still upset that you cut out the part where he studied psychedelic drugs and made like a psychedelic module of the brain, which is very relevant to Dan Simmons. I have to look up if Dan Simmons got into that research too and somehow they collaborated. That would be amazing.
Well, I'm sorry I had to cut that out,
No,
but
just
maybe I'll
kidding.
include
It's
it in this
Yeah, I was
episode.
to say, include it in this episode.
It's definitely like a good choice to cut it out. It didn't make any sense. It was not relevant in any way, other than they're both crazy. So I just love that detail that he went from scientific research to just psychedelics. That's amazing.